What's up, guys? So, thank you for watching those. Cass was AFK, now he is back, and I believe they've done the vetoes, and I think he just was told to let me host, so hopefully we get the maps soon. I have to remember to actually play ads as well. They should be what's next. Koss versus Goblin.
Yeah, I got another PvT. This one I expect to be a little bit more ordinary or orthodox. But although I do wonder, like, Goblin went for the weird proxy gateway, like, shenaniganry 2 games in a row. Maybe this is just what I've noticed. Like, some players just really don't like a matchup. And some players really just like, no, this is actually my standard because I can't win if it goes past the 4-minute mark. Like, some players actually legitimately just feel that way. So, I don't know. We'll see if Goblin decides to do it versus someone like Koss as well, or...
He's typically a pretty cheesy guy.
Yeah.
So what's funny, though, is that we know him for Mass Oracles, and we try and catch him because of that. And then he, like, just... He hasn't been doing it since Mass Oracles has become an actual thing. So I made a couple jokes about him being, like, a hipster, because, like, it's cool now. He doesn't want to do it anymore. But I actually don't know why he doesn't do it.
No, Zombie Grub. It's not cool now because everyone's doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever. That's what I meant. But hey, I'm going to try and play a map intro here. So, guys, we're going to Mech Depot. See you soon. Hey, I did it right. Guys, it's game number 1 in a new series in the top right. We just witnessed him take out another Terran. It is the pink Protoss Goblin.
And down in the bottom left, we have the blue Terran player. Give it up for Koss. Team Cascade.
Yeah, he's been on that team forever. Literally.
I have negative associations with, like, Cascade. Like, Cascade is... I'm sure it's a great team. But from high school, there was, like... This actually is, like, something that would sound like it's from middle school or elementary school, but we had, this group of people at our high school that my group of friends was, like, enemies with.
Oh my god.
And they called themselves the Cascade. I don't know why they called themselves the Cascade. That sounds like such a pretentious name, but I hated them.
Oh.
So I just have negative associations with the word Cascade.
First of all, this sounds like... Oh man, I can't remember the name of that book that was turned into a movie about the kids that have, like, opposing gangs, and it's, like, set in the 50s. Anyways.
Oh.
Anyways, there's someone who's gonna bring up what I'm talking about. But Cascade also sounds really pretentious to me because I live near a, like, section of my town that is named, like, Cascades Field or something like that, and it's where all, like, the somewhat rich people lived. And then, like, years later, because this is when I moved in, that was the pretentious side. When, like, years later, when I was, like, maybe 15 or something, so 7-8 years later, they opened up this huge area near a golf course with a bunch of, like, basically millionaires. And I was like, okay, that's the pretentious side of town now, too. So, different levels. They live in kind of an affluent area.
Well, I hope that the Cascade players, I'm sure the Cascade players hope that they also get equally as pretentious because they just have that much money from their StarCraft prize money winnings. And TING is a good way to get started on that with such a massive prize pool. But we do have Goblin going for a more normal opening this game.
That is true. He has gone for a scout, and he is scouting, because Koss certainly can do his own proxies, but there's not really much reason to. He did see there was a command center. Generally, it's not 2 base proxies, but of course that does exist. You proxy the factory and the starport after. But Koss is actually going to go for kind of a 2-1-1, but again, not the second racks first. Actually, factory first.
Yeah, so he'll be able to get up maybe a few more Marines. I wonder if he's just going to go for, like, a pretty quick drop off of this then. Maybe with, like, a Widowmine or something. But Stargate opening from Goblin. You're talking about how he loves that lots of Stargate plays. And while I'm sure that you were talking about the Mass Oracles more in reference to, I guess, like, PVZ, Oracle opening's really not too bad and honestly pretty common in PvP.
Oh yeah, of course. The Oracle is not too surprising to see. Even 2 Oracles can be expected from some players. It's when you see 3 that you start to question things a little bit.
Yeah, or you're watching Scarlet.
That's true.
You know, like, all right, par for the course. Let's watch her make Protoss look like it's really imbalanced, even though there's only 3 Protoss at BlizzCon this year.
Yeah. She likes taking credit for the Mass Oracle. So.
Yeah. To be fair, Neve also, I think, credits her a bit for it.
Yeah,
Little.
yeah. I mean, she might be right. She was using that as kind of a trolley build, you know, even back when she wasn't seriously considering changing her Protoss, but that's
Which I think is also funny, because I think that most people credit Haas with it.
They do, because and this is why I kind of just was like, okay, Scarlet, but I feel like the refinements when someone has actually made it a thing, you know, like, okay, yeah, you did mass speed Banshees, but innovation, kind of perfecting it and showing it in multiple games, like that's when it's actually a thing.
Ooh, very annoying. Picking off the SCV, building the engineering bay. Looks like Koss gonna have a little bit of trouble building those missile turrets, but maybe he won't need them if he takes out the Oracle that quickly. Holy cow, and Phoenix were coming out behind this, so there's no more Oracles really gonna be coming out anytime in the near future.
Yeah, that is problems for Goblin. Phoenixes, if they're used, of course, so they're actually flying around the map, are decent scouting and certainly useful units to have, but that Revelation would have just been super, super easy.
Well, Adept does scout the army moving out across the map. Looks like the Cyclone will see the Adept, so at least Koss is also aware he's been found out, that he's been had. The Phoenix are going to be really important in this, I guess, push-in to try and pick up those Cyclones and prevent that additional damage, allow the Foot Overcharge to be a bit more useful. If you can catch the Cyclones in the middle of the Foot Overcharge, that's the ideal situation.
Indeed. Well, it actually seems to be something holdable. I was really worried that Goblin was not going to be able to hold his 3rd base. Of course, having 2 Cyclones in the mix kind of complicates things, but it seems that defensively he is fine, good to go. He's got a couple of gateways producing here and should be adding more as his economy actually gets boosted. But Koss on his way to a 3rd CC. On location against Phoenix is always questionable, but seems he's going to get away with it.
Yeah, he'll get away with it, but I do feel like Goblin definitely got the better end of these kinds of openings. Koss is still going to poach forward, maybe ready to try and do a bit more damage, but as the Adept count grows, I just feel like Goblin is in a better situation with 57 workers. He's adding on his additional tech, he's getting up another Oracle. He is just really far ahead, it feels like, of Koss.
I mean, yeah, the loss of the Oracle early on can be devastating if it, you know, kind of snowballs into missing a drop or missing an attack, but generally, like, just losing one single unit is really not that bad. So while things didn't open up fantastic, these actually end up being okay for Goblin.
And this is actually going to be even better than okay, as he finds the Widowmine drop and gets both Widowmines and the medevac. The Adept at the south side Zelnaga Watchtower also saw the army moving out, and once again, Koss notices, okay, the Adept was there. What's the point in trying to push in right now? My opponent's going to be incredibly ready. He already dealt with my drop, and Koss is just struggling to find an ability to get some damage done right now.
Revelation does come out from another Oracle. Phoenix is all still alive, and Goblin does have some decent production. It looks like he delayed +1 Resonating Glaives, though, in favor of gateways and double forge. So I don't know how strong his army actually is. Usually it's much stronger than it is now, and this might just get wrecked.
Well, he does pick off, I think, all the Widow Mines there with the Phoenix, but like you were saying, it is going to be a little bit dangerous. The Adepts getting picked off one by one. Is there actually enough over here left to break Photon Overcharges? I don't actually think so, combined with the Adepts.
Yeah, everything is still available, Photon Overcharge, Adepts, and Phoenixes, so that would have been a little bit testy, but there's also just this thing like, oh, nice, pick up the Phoenix, that certainly Koss is expecting the Adepts to have +1 Resonating Glaives, and if he doesn't see +1 yet, then he's thinking, okay, maybe in 5 seconds, like I can't actually push into this, and unfortunately, by being so hesitant, 1-1 is going to finish to match his upgrades and Resonating Glaives as well.
Yeah, kind of the little bit unfortunate thing about StarCraft is with upgrades that you can't really easily ever scout and see how far away someone is from finishing an upgrade. So That kind of just the potential of fear over there is going to keep costs back for a good bit longer. And of course, the Revelation also allows Goblin to react a little bit faster. But wow, Goblin already looking to go for a fourth now.
Yeah, looks like he's already wanted to set it up. I mean, he has found himself in a decent position. He's on his way to double robo with a robotics bay as well. It's funny because like twice now he's kind of delayed earlier production, earlier upgrades for double that later on, but it might just work.
Oh, Adept Shade on forward, but the Widow Mines do some pretty significant damage to these Adepts, taking out most of their shields. Still seems like Goblin just has overwhelming numbers at this point. Maybe? I think so. Yeah, definitely with the reinforcements.
He has plenty of Phoenix, and in fact, this is what's truly worrying about some of these engagements. The Adepts are expected to die, basically, as long as they hold the line, but the Phoenixes are those things that you just usually don't ever see being replaced. And Goblin's even going up to 10 of them because he's only lost one. 34 Adepts, mind you, but only lost one Phoenix, so they consistently have energy. They're grabbing some important units. They're taking on the Medivacs every single time, and they're also going to be useful against Liberators, which always make their way around in TvP.
Yeah, I really also have to commend Goblin on one thing that he's been actually doing a really good job of, and it's always one of those things that makes, when it's done well, it looks really easy, but it's actually just like threading the needle, walking a tightrope, and that's picking up the reinforcing Widow Mines as well as all the Widow Mines that were with the army right before they burrow. You see them walking in, and it's not just, it's like at any given moment, a new Widow Mine could just walk in from across the map and try and burrow, and it could devastate your army. But Goblin's done a great job of picking up almost every single one of them.
I chuckled a little bit because Goblin had double robos, right? So I guess he double pumped observers twice and had them all rallied to one place. So he did eventually send them all forward and spread them out. So he has really good vision. Observer, pylons over here. Maybe too many pylons, but Phoenix is also scouting, Revelation being cast, and he should have knowledge of everything. His Colossus are only just now on the way out, but I think his army's fine without them temporarily.
Okay, well, 1 foot overcharge is going to help push back some of these units, but the Revelation definitely very valuable over here, especially if he can tag those on the Widow Mines, which he hasn't quite done just yet, but here we go. Colossus starting to come into the mix, and this is where he can start to push costs back a little bit more.
Center Milan's not being done is a little scary. You can see he's very hesitant to let that Colossus actually shoot. Despite so many Adepts protecting it, it's still going to be targeted without that range.
Oh, wow. Picks up all these Widow Mines once again with the Phoenix, although one of the Widow Mine does eventually get another reburrow. He gets on the last second. Oh, my God.
He's lost all the Adepts, so they took so much damage from that dancing that happened earlier. He didn't bring the second Colossus forward either, which would have been a lot more DPS. Looks like he'll barely manage to save the base, but does get one of those Colossus targeted.
Man, picking up all the Marines, the Phoenixes are going uncontested in the air, and even a Liberator are going to come in over here, not going to be too useful, but it seems like those Marauders still able to do a lot of damage on the ground. Goblin just somehow manages to defend and hold, and remember, he has a fourth base, whereas Koss really doesn't.
No, Koss was pretty dedicated to that attack. His upgrades were also, I think, a little bit late, so they're definitely being... He's being outproduced. I mean, with double Forge Chrono, that makes a lot of sense, but I also think his army's a little bit late. It's going to start adding up here. It's going to become more and more of an all-in as time goes on. Even as he gets a second starport and +1 ship weapons, he's going to have to make the decision right now, basically, to either get a fourth base or just try and lift that third or main command center.
Yeah, and this is also a really difficult position because you were talking about the double pumped out observers, and you combine that with the 3 pylons on the north side, the Adept that's over the Zelnaga watchtower on the north, and the Phoenix plus the observers maneuvering around. It's really hard to attack from anything but just one angle at the front, because otherwise you're pretty much guaranteed to be caught by these Phoenix. So Koss really doesn't have a lot of options right now.
Koss doesn't have much of a hope, I would say. Going up against what is going to be soon 4 Colossus with 2/2. I'd like to see some Immortals just because there are so many Marauders, but kind of the Phoenixes help with that once taking out the Liberators.
Yeah, one Widow Mine did soften up all of the Phoenix. All of their shields are currently just regenerating right now, so there is still a little bit of hope if you can get some good Widow Mine hits. You know, even just do small things like trying to obscure the Widow Mines from being able to be targeted by the Liberators or something, or like the Medivac. Small little things like that to try and get a good connection.
Yeah. He does, excuse me, lift the main command center. He had 500 minerals when I talked about his decision. Decided to put that into more Vikings, it looks like. Now, quadruple Viking production.
Oh, nice pick off on another Liberator over there, as that Anion Pulse Crystals helping out quite a bit for these Phoenix. And oh man, Widowmine's getting picked off. Another Widowmine at the front also loses its life. The Colossus reigning supreme with +2 weapons, but is there enough of a ground force here for Goblin?
Oh, he did eventually get those Immortals. I really like that. The Adepts were thinned out, but just too many of the powerful units behind. GG.
And Goblin takes game number 1, not through cheese like he did in that first series versus Han Mono, but through just raw macro.
Yeah. He actually had a very clean game. So I mentioned that Goblin's kind of known for being cheesy, but I think that was versus Zerg, first of all. He'd always like say like, you guys catch me always in the wrong game. But I think also in the last year, basically, he's gone from being that guy that just wants to kind of have fun with his builds and actually become more consistent as like a macro player and a micro player. So that was actually very clean. Koss is certainly going to be in some trouble.
Yeah. Well, interested to see where things are going to go with game number 2, as I guess Koss, he had like it started off as like a really nice opening where he just picks off that Oracle and everything's looking actually really, really good for Koss. But after that, like he tried to go for this push at the front, but just barely actually Goblin had enough in time. He had some pretty good, I guess he kind of got a little bit lucky with the Resonating Glaives not actually finishing up on time, but Koss was a little bit hesitant about pushing too far forward. The Phoenix is catching the Widowmine drop. Like a lot of things just started going wrong for Koss. And I wonder if there are any adaptations he can make or identifications about it. Maybe things he can do differently in game number 2 to change things around.
Well, he certainly will have to. It's going to be his map choice, so that's already something going in his favor. But, you know, that was a straight-up macro game, and he just wasn't able to do the damage he was hoping for. Perhaps he has a different build. Perhaps well, I would say that definitely it's a different build. He uses Acolyte as his map choice. I know the map intro is really long, so assuming none of these guys need a break, I'll just go ahead and start playing that now. See you guys soon.
この世界の片隅で今を生きる僕らは波を越えて光の誘へ僕らの信じてるこの夢や理想は目を離した隙に壊れてしまいそうだ何千万億千年のフラッシュバックスローモーション空の下消し去ってしまいたい音のリアル予測するの1秒先の心を奪われていたずらに傷つけられたら何かがどこから溢れて何度でも響き合う心の音 Yes, no
Oh god, I'm so sorry. I realized at the end of that the music was very, very loud. Headphone users beware. Rip.
Whoops.
Yeah, I guess I had missed on moving Acolyte down, so that was my bad, guys. I'm sorry. Hopefully it won't happen again. We're in game number 2, and in the top right, he is down 1. It is Blue Terran Koss.
And down in the bottom left, we have the pink Protoss player. It's Goblin, setting up 1-0.
Ooh, that's gonna be quite loud.
Oh man, I can't wait. I'm gonna like unmute the stream for this and listen to see how badly you messed up, Zombie Grub. Because I don't get to watch you mess up a lot. But when you do, man, I'm gonna give you shit for it.
I was like somewhat aware of the levels. I was like kind of had my eye on the on Obs next to me, but it might have started off maybe a little bit quiet, so I didn't notice. Then it got loud.
I really feel like I need something that just tells me, like, if I set like a general decibel level kind of indicator for like XSplit or OBS or whatever, that I can just say like, hey, if something ever goes above this decibel level, please let me know. Like, or if just all of the audio for like 10 seconds straight or 5 seconds straight is under this decibel level, please let me know, because I probably muted myself.
Yeah. Yeah, that actually be very helpful. Obviously, you know, if we catch it beforehand, you can put compressors on it or just simply lower the volume. But the whole idea is you might not catch it. So just an overarching thing to go on top of XSplit or OBS would be helpful.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll have a little programming project next weekend or something. We'll see how complicated something like that gets. But this game, we do have the 2 racks opening. This is 2 racks before the factory. Actually, in fact, I think this was a CC first from Cos. Yes.
CC first and a Nexus first from Goblin, I believe.
Good old Acolyte.
Actually, that might have been a Nexus after Gateway.
Oh my god, that is loud.
Yeah. Oh god, I hope you guys enjoy the anime. So hopefully it's not literally bursting someone's eardrums. That'd be great.
Well, I'm sure people will live, and I got no other comforting words for that one, Zombie Graph.
Yeah. The other ones I think I was on top of. I also changed, like, I had to, like, reduce every volume thing that I added on. So, story is, guys, we watch these guys kind of just get prepped for an Acolyte game, which should be very macro-oriented, is that Rifkin messages, like, within enough time for sure that he might not be here, and that's no problem. So I download all the assets, and I set up the scenes and whatever. But to set up the scenes, I have to reduce all the volume of any video by, like, 50%. So, occasionally I miss one, and that's what happens.
Wait, do you put every single intro on a different scene?
No.
Okay.
Well, actually, I put all the map intros on different scene because that's easier to get to, but all the Ting videos are on one scene, different sources.
Okay, remind me to give you some of the scripts that I use later, because I feel like they may make your life easier. But
maybe.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Well, we do have the Oracle making its way across the map. We'll see if it's more effective than the Oracle last game. As he is gonna, he was following this up. Yeah, he did get up one additional Phoenix behind this. He's halted Phoenix production for now, so it may just be to help deal with Liberators or something. But we'll see when he decides to resume Phoenix production. Oh no!
Run, Oracle, run!
Not like this. Actually. Oh, that one Marine!
Here, Marine!
Oh my, no, this is Cos.
Of course you'd make that joke.
Wow, okay, so once again, a really, really solid opening from Cos in terms of dealing with the Oracle. There is going to be the Phoenix follow-up behind this, and once again, Goblin goes for a much, much, much faster third base, so this really looks a lot like that last game. With slight deviations of the openings, yeah, this was like a Nexus first and a CC first, but just like the setup looks really similar.
Certainly for Goblin, you know, he's kind of doing the stereotypical Protoss thing with the Stargate opener, but, you know, last game going into that many Phoenixes, not many people do that anymore. They don't actually stand Resident Glaives Adept, or they just, or Phoenix, and they might not even go for that. There are a lot of people who open up Stargate for the 2 Oracles, and then go into, like, Blink or Charge, and actually play Gateway focused, not go into a lot of Phoenix. So, it's definitely old school, and Cos might have to readjust the way he's been playing against Protosses nowadays to kind of accommodate for that, because it looks like Goblin's doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, you were talking about how this is old school. I don't actually know why Phoenix Adept kind of stopped happening as much. Like, there was this period where most foreigners stopped doing Phoenix Adept as much, but then there were some Europeans, and like every Korean Protoss was still going Phoenix Adept. But I don't really know, like, what was the reason why Protoss players stopped doing it? Like, if they stopped seeing success, or if it was just a little too volatile for them in terms of, like, you know, I either did this perfectly or I screwed something up and I lost.
They got bored of winning.
Ooh. Maybe. That must have been it, Zombie Grub. You've nailed it.
Oh, sorry. It is currently 1-0 in favor of Goblin. Forgot to update the score. I'll apologizing for the map intro. No, I think that it was just something where the Terrans were eventually figuring it out, and to be honest, as it is to joke about, like, the playstyle got boring and they win too much, I imagine it got kind of boring in a way. Not only were Terrans responding better, but it also made the game a little more just, you know, I'm up against a turtle Terran, which has got to be just a little obnoxious. You know, maybe boring is the right word, but certainly annoying just to be like, okay, you come to me. Okay, you come to me. Okay, you're not gonna come to me? Okay, you came to me with 20 Liberators. Shit. Like that type of thing. So we do have adaptions to Protoss, and well, Goblin just still likes Phoenix Adept.
I really also like that Goblin got out the Oracle once again, like a little bit faster than he did in the last game. So he's able to toss out those revelations, finds both medevacs and all the Marines that are out on the map, and now has full vision of them. Now some more reinforcing units along with some Widow Mines are coming across the map, so this won't last for long or prevent the aggression for long, but it does give Goblin a little bit more time to build up that Phoenix count a bit more. And wow, going for a really fast fourth once again. This is actually a really ballsy fourth to try and take right now.
Yeah, this is even faster. Yeah, he just cancels it. Why? It was
Someone's been playing Brood War or something. They're just like, I can just expand whenever I feel like it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just go for it.
That is. Well, I'm glad that he canceled it. He wouldn't have been able to hold it. He can hold this, probably no problem. But I'm a little worried. He doesn't have the +1 upgrades. He's still waiting on that 1/1, although he does have Resonating Glaives this time.
Oh, no Revelation thrown down on that Widow Mine, so I'm not sure if he's aware of them. They are gonna go off. Actually doing more friendly fire damage there.
Yeah, they killed one of the medevacs, had a couple of units in it. Scumbag Widow Mine.
Oh man, might just be more than that one medevac that goes down as these Phoenix and Adepts are giving chase. Terran Bio is stimming away, but they're not exactly going to any reinforcements or anything. It seems like this army is gonna die.
Yeah. That is definitely the great thing about Phoenix Adept. It's a guaranteed kill in the army. If you go for Blink Stalkers, like obviously you can chase a little bit, but it's not quite the same. So this is just an easy cleanup. And now Goblin can take a 4th base, and now he's gonna have 1/1. But this game, Koss is way ahead on the upgrades. You know, last game he was behind almost entirely with 2 of them. Now he's gonna have 2/1 against 1/1 and continue his aggression.
Oh god, I love what a great job Goblin has been doing with this map vision. He has the Adept and sees, yeah, actually my Phoenix and Adepts were moving across the map and your army was moving across the map in a different pathway, but I scouted it so I can move back just in time and be ready to defend my 4th. Like, that kind of knowledge and information has really helped him out a lot in playing this style.
I think there's the Guardian Shield. So the upgrades are done. Koss might regret taking this fight.
Okay, well, one Phoenix does go down. The Adepts are going to be shading in on top of this, and with another stim coming out, there is no running away from this Koss. He's going to try and go for the Doom Drop, but this is a desperation maneuver.
He didn't have boost, I guess. He used it getting to the 4th base. Not that it would have gone that much better if he had boost, but that was an absolutely terrible move to make. Sorry to put it so harshly, but yeah, he got, and this was what was happening before people really figured out how to play Phoenix Adept. They would be a Terran, they would be aggressive in the mid game, and they would lose out on usually free harassment because Phoenixes would catch them, and they just kind of gave up and started playing a little more turtly. Koss, I don't know, either not remembering that's how you should do it, or just thought that it would generally go better. It did not.
I think it's actually one of the cool things about going for one of these older play styles and sort of throwing it out, as we do see a Flea Beacon coming down. But it does force your opponent to like really play out of their comfort zone of what they've been practicing lately. So maybe Koss just didn't want to try and adapt that quickly. He is actually taking out most of these Adepts, and some of the Phoenix are losing their lives, but still probably an okayish trade for Goblin. Not a great trade, but okay.
Yeah, he was another Phoenix on the... That was, I don't want to say a throw into a throw there, but that wasn't the best engagement he could have had. So Adepts aren't that difficult to replace, and he's had double Robo for a very long time, so he's finally starting to make this Colossus. But, you know, before that attack, he was in a position to get to all of his needed tech with a good army. Now, it's like, well, maybe Koss has an opportunity, up 20 army supply. If he just had more medevacs, he could be pushing.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that Goblin did manage to do was like really pick off a lot of the medevacs. So if Koss goes for this big push in, because he's been making mostly Vikings recently, he doesn't exactly have any more medevacs on the way. So he's literally going to be sitting on 2 medevacs for this push. That's not a lot of stim potential. That's not a lot of sustainability. But like you were saying, he is not going to be up against a lot of ground forces for Goblin. So it's not about sustainability. It's about burst DPS, taking everything out as fast as possible, then snowballing from there.
He's about to have +3 upgrades, but does he have enough to take on the Colossus?
Engaging 5 seconds before +3, his army is actually disappearing from the Colossus damage, and I think the Goblin has just reclaimed his victory in this game, or an advantageous position in the game.
Yeah, Koss is gonna tap out, it looks like.
He's just laughing, because he's like, I have you right where I want you.
This is obviously my game to win.
You should just forfeit now.
Yeah. What's so complicated about dealing with late game Protoss armies? So Kaz is not ready to tap out quite yet. He does have a couple of ghosts and more Vikings, and he's on 5 bases, so yeah, maybe he shouldn't tap out, but he obviously doesn't have a big enough army, and he will lose.
Well, Zombie Grub with the micro of a legend, Kaz is...
Not so much.
I don't think he could have saved that situation with the micro of a legend. Yeah. I don't know if Boxer himself could have saved that situation.
No, I don't think so. GG, there it is. So, I was gonna say the difficulty in late game, like versus Protoss, is that it seems so much. I think for a lot of people, especially when you're caught up literally in a game, you're thinking of a billion different things. You think I have the counter to XYZ unit. I have ghosts. I have Vikings. This should be fine. And he had 4 Vikings for 2 Colossus, which actually isn't that great, but you know, okay, that's something. It's not really so much about that as it is about just actually getting in positioning. Like, you're supposed to get shots off on the Colossus first. You're supposed to get the EMPs off first, you know, and you're supposed to micro and concave your army behind that, otherwise you will just die. But like I said, I think he just didn't have enough Vikings, and that was a bit of a bold push in to begin with. Oh well.
Well, Goblin will advance on 2-0 and face off versus Xanster in the winner's quarters, as Zombie Gub corrected me during the break multiple times. But on the other side of the bracket, it is worth noting that Hush advanced on over Hellraiser 2-1. He's going to be facing off versus the winner of Sort of and Clem, who I think are like 12 minutes into game 1 or game 2 right now. So maybe we might be able to hop into that, or maybe we'll be able to hop into Xanster versus Goblin. There's also a loser's bracket going on. If you guys are interested in following that, you guys can find the link to the bracket through the usual BaseTradeTV means of typing !bracket in the chat.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it's like I used to know how BaseTradeTV operated.
Oh, well, yeah. I wouldn't know why you would know that. So it looks like what next year's going to get into is just continuing to follow Goblin, who's on a bit of a warpath. We'll be facing off against Xanster next, so a PVZ for our next match. And once again, we're going to send off to let Ting talk about itself and why it's such an awesome company. If you are in America, actually, it doesn't work for Canada, unfortunately, and Europeans already have great plans, but if you live in the US of A, it's a pretty good alternative to regular phone plans, so check it out.